On Book Chat this morning on Wake Up Nigeria, we sit down with Ambassador Unyime-Ivy King as she opens up about her powerful book, Burning Hurt. Now, she is a visionary leader, humanitarian, and a catalyst for empowerment. Ambassador Unyime-Ivy is a dynamic force in entrepreneurship and social innovation, and she's the chairman of Protection Plus Services Limited. This book is captivating from the start. The moment you start reading it, you want to know what's going to happen next, especially the beginning parts of the pain of a young girl who lost a child.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you this first. What inspired this story?
Okay, the story was gotten from when I was doing my youth service in Osun State. You know, some of my mates were talking about this young lady who had wanted to get married to this guy and he disappointed her. So literally that's the story that I took and I expanded on it. And it's because of my interest in family, because I'm passionate about family, and I've realized that dysfunctional families make dysfunctional societies. So I wanted to do this story, you know, to get people to think about the repercussions of some of the actions that they take, because people just do things and they move on. They don't realize that when you do something, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So that was the push behind the story.
Now, of course, you know, when one is writing a story, different other events come up as well. And so they seem like byproducts of the original story itself.
Yeah.
How did you come about all of those as well?
Okay. You know,
were they also personal experiences?
Well, I think a few personal experiences have been infused because I came from a very, you know, close-knit family. And I heard a lot of stories. My father was a writer. And in fact, if I get to write like him, I would be very happy. And it was very cerebral.
I would say you're not doing badly.
And it was very cerebral. So we had lots of conversations at home about things that were going on in the society and all of that. So I've infused a little bit of that here and there into the story.
Okay. All right. So now, Burning Hurt. How did you come about the title?
Okay. The title is based on the pain of the lead person in the story. It's all, you know, that pain of getting pregnant and then this guy that you thought loved you like, you know, yes, fresh bread. Yeah. You discover that in the end he was just playing with your feelings and all. And then to make matters worse, she decided, okay, I'm going to keep this child, and lost the baby. So it was a combination of her pain, the things she's gone through, even sexual abuse, you know. So the story is a combination of everything that happens in society and in the family.
So were you trying to determine the power of curses or the law of karma? Which one? Because I decided I was going to ask you that question. Was it a case of the power of curses? Because my goodness, the curses she gave at the start of the story, it did seem to haunt him to a large extent.
You know, when I wrote this book, I think I was still evolving in my journey, and I've heard these stories that I remember a particular conversation I had with my dad. We all just talking because we talk a lot in our family, and he said that a lot of these young men that go about deceiving young girls, that he gave us some examples of young men that had relationships with girls and then jilted them and the repercussions of that. So that's what I wanted to bring out in the story, that okay, it's okay to sow if you want to sow your wild oats, but just know that as you're sowing the wild oats, there are repercussions, you know. And this is Africa, and some spooky things happen sometimes. You may not really know how to explain it, but we hear these things. So this is your everyday happening in society, you know, that people, somebody you've offended is upset and then says a few words and it comes to pass, you know. But I know that also, by virtue of what I now know, once the person repents and is sorry for what they did, I think the story changes. It doesn't really strictly follow that somebody curses you somewhere and then you're seeing a lot of spooky things happening in your life.
Wow. So this book was released it was published in 2014?
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah. And so part of what I saw was the plan to do a movie of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you able to pull that off eventually?
It's interesting. It's just, I think, late last year that I got it scripted. What happened is that I went into business with my husband, and of course, we know what it is in Nigeria. So I had to calm down on the book side.
Okay.
But now I think I'm ready to do more. So the scripting has been done, and I'm looking
10
forward
years.
to, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you wrote the book, published it,
Yeah.
and then with the determination, because when I saw 2014 and all the plans, I actually went on Google to look for the movie. Like, okay,
Yeah.
see
No,
the book,
we
read
didn't-
it, but
yeah.
then okay.
Yeah,
So
we plan to.
what are the plans now that the script is ready?
Yeah, what I'm looking for a producer, and then of course we have to raise funds to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And if you notice the way we did the book has a theme song.
Yes.
It's on YouTube.
It was
Yeah.
like totally. It was right there on YouTube. Yes.
Yeah.
It was even like reading out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So-
did you come up with this theme song yourself, or was it
I
inspired
had
by
a team
some?
I had a team of people I was working with at the time, because
Okay.
when I did the book launch, I launched the book in Akwa Ibom.
Okay.
And I had a team. It was like a movie production, what we did in Akwa Ibom.
Wow.
Because I've never quite seen it like that. The way everything was played out like we were doing a movie. So we had this theme song, we had these people come and do a dance performance of the book and all of that. And I think I want that to be the norm with any book that I come up with. It has to have that pattern. Yeah.
So, are you currently writing another book?
I have many books. I have many books. I think when I eventually publish, I'll be publishing maybe 3 or 4 or 5 at the same time.
Wow.
Yes, I have lots of them in my system, my computer.
So, on average, what inspires you to write? You did say that you had to put your plans regarding the movies on the back burner to
Yeah.
focus on the business and all. But in between, you said you also have several books. What
Yeah.
inspires you to write?
Okay, I look at the society, the things that go on in the society, and it inspires me. I'm inspired by, like I said, I'm passionate about families, because when we complain that Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, everybody out there, whether the person is a politician, whether the person is a pastor, whatever you're doing out there, you come from a family.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe that thriving and functional families make functional societies. So if you are complaining that a political leader is not doing okay, I always ask, what family did they come from? What was the conditioning from? What were the values that they were infused with, you know? So those are the things that really get me. So once I see things happening, maybe something is trending or so, I look at it and I'm very careful to jump into trends. I think things through before I write. And I think maybe because I've not really come up with another book, I do a lot of writing in my social media handles.
Now, you mentioned your dad earlier, and it
Yeah.
had me wondering, what lessons did you learn from him, especially as an experienced writer himself?
Okay. My father was one of my, he was my father, and also he was one of my critics, you know, because he would read my books and he would also offer me his opinion. He's somebody that taught us to reason with him. He was very cerebral, like I said. So we had these conversations at home, and if you had a superior argument, he will respect that. So he's the one that first gave me that push and to write the book. In fact, before he passed on, he came with some letters that we had exchanged when I was cutting with my husband, and he said,
Interesting.
he said, I think you need to do this into a book. A lot of young women will learn from these experiences, because a lot of the things you told me, you know, I've seen it materialize in your marriage. In fact, he said, you spoke like a prophetess. And he wanted to do that book with me, but unfortunately, shortly after he passed. So whenever I had things to write, I will speak with him. He will look at it and he will offer his advice.
So are we expecting that book of letters
Yes.
between
That's
daughter
why I
and
said
dad?
that when I eventually publish more books, I'll have up to 3, 4, 5 books at
I'm
the
looking
same
forward
time.
to that one. I'm looking forward to that one. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to know you had such a beautiful relationship with your
Yeah.
dad. It's really so nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this book, Unyime-Ivy. It's one for the shelf. It's one that many people should read.
Yeah.
Burning Hearts, that's what it's called, by Unyime-Ivy King. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. At this point, we'll take a break. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria.